Welcome to the Old Souls and Seekers podcast, a podcast that transcends the typical personal development journey. You're not new to this. You've read the books, attended the seminars, and perhaps even tried various coaching programs, yet something still feels amiss. Elon and Guy have over 2 decades of relentless searching and $1 million invested in their personal growth quest. Here's the revelation. You're not missing anything. You're not even behind. You might have just been searching in the wrong places. In each episode, we'll uncover the most effective, straightforward practices that have profoundly impacted our lives and the tens of thousands of our clients from all over the world. This is about real, sustainable results for those dedicated to their personal and spiritual growth. So get ready to explore and enjoy the show. Hi, everybody. Welcome. If you're with us today, just drop a hi in the chat box so I can welcome you here. I am solo today. The guy's actually in recovering from his minor surgery that he went through. So it'll just be me today. If there's anyone new here that hasn't been with us before, would love to have you just let us know that you're here and if this is your first time. I'm just curious, what have you guys noticed, if anything, about 2024? Like, is there a feeling to 2024 for you? Is there something new, something different, kind of another year? Like, is there an essence to it that you've pinpointed so far? We were just talking about this with the coaches, so I'm curious if anybody else has any other ideas here. Stacy said, "I'm now working on creating a new version of me eating healthier and getting my routine back. Now I finished uni." That's awesome. Welcome back to having more time. I can imagine that was pretty exhausting. Alex says, massive expansion, big time of transitions. Ian says 2024 is more chilled than 23. Do you guys remember 4 years ago at this time? Ingrid says, major shifts around me. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I have on Facebook memories, like videos from today. So every once in a while, things pop up from 4 years ago and what we were doing during lockdown for COVID during this time. It's wild to watch those videos back now. Ian says, we're used to being at war. Oh, interesting. Yeah, that is true. I was actually just sharing with the coaches that kind of something that I'm noticing for myself. I'm sure Guy would attest to this, and also just something that I'm hearing friends and clients and things like that. I noticed that people kind of went into 24. 2023, I think for most people ended kind of like positively. People were finding this like newness and transition, and they're excited about what's happening in 2024. And you thought you were going to go down this like path of continuing what was happening in 2023 and helping it grow and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden it was like 2024 came and it was just this like hard left or hard right turn, whatever you want to call it. And all of a sudden people are just dealing with change and upheaval and things shifting and constantly having to, I don't know, like reinvent what's there. Yes, Fanny Ferdman?
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Are you?
I am.
Are you Fanny Ferdman?
I am. Elon Ferdman.
See, these kind of things happen in 2024 too. Oh, Andrea, 4 years ago. Yay. Huge changes everywhere. I'm seeing progression in humanity toward compassion everywhere I look. Yep. Hi, Fanny. Yeah. So I'm just kind of like I guess the constant of life is that it's constantly changing. And 2024 just feels like one of these big kind of like shakeup years where I guess my experience of it's like all this stuff that was just kind of sitting there and like humming along, not necessarily working, but not also necessarily not working, just kind of like the status quo feels like it's wanting to just go and be like, okay, let's shift some things up, right? Like you need to be going in this direction and not that direction, this, that, the other thing. And so what I'm present to when I talk to people is, and I've said this for the last few years, I said that the speed in which we are going to experience growth, both as individuals and on the planet, is only getting faster. Like it's not slowing down. I mean, it will eventually slow down, but I don't see that for the next few years, 2, 3, 5 years, that this is going to slow down. It just, if you guys notice, like it is just going faster and faster and faster and faster. And the amount of stuff that we are dealing with, processing, experiencing, both as individuals, as families, as communities, countries, and the world just seems to be like in hyperdrive. And Alex said that we should use this as our marketing slogan. So I'm going to test it out on you guys. I said, I feel really sorry for people who aren't doing this kind of work, because when the waves keep coming and you haven't done work on how to actually swim or deal with it, like what I basically said was like, if you're not doing this work, you're kind of fucked. Like, I just don't know how people are operating in world right now when things are changing constantly so quickly. So if like you're just kind of visiting and you're new to the world of Satori Prime and you haven't really dipped and dabbled in what it is that we do, something that we're kind of coining here is the nervous system reset protocol, what we just call NSRP. And the idea of that is to actually help you find simple and effective ways to downregulate your nervous system, so that as you're going through these changes, right, these ups, these downs, these sideways, these upside downs, etc., like that you can find and maintain stability within the nervous system. And where most people struggle, and this is I've talked to tens of thousands of people, right? Like what I notice people struggle with is their mindset, right? So everyone's like, oh, I talk negatively myself, or I have doubt, or I have worry, or I have confusion, fear, whatever these thoughts. And so what we do is we try to find a book or a teacher or a program that's going to help us to fix, overcome, change this thoughts that are happening in the mind. Now, what I'm noticing, and this is just, again, my musings over the last 8 years, both personally and taking other people through this work, is that if we're dealing with the mind and mind alone, like the conversations, the stories, etc., then we're really only dealing with the symptom, not the root cause. So the analogy I tell people is like, if you went to a doctor and you're like, doc, I have these terrible headaches. And the doctor's like, take some Excedrin or Tylenol, whatever the hell it is, right? And you'll be good. Now, will you be good? Yeah, you'll be good, because you take these 2 pills and all of a sudden you don't feel the headache. But let me ask you this. Is the headache still there? I get that you took the pills and I get that you don't feel the headache, but is the headache still there? And the answer to that is, it most certainly is. Because all these pills do is they basically trick your brain to cut off the part that receives the pain. And so the pain is still there, but the receptor that's supposed to receive the signal of yes, pain is just not receiving the signal. Now, so yes, you get the relief, right? Oh, thank God, I don't have a headache. But here's the question. If you're not actually looking at the root cause of why you are getting the headache, and you are band-aiding the symptom of it by taking these pills, are you actually helping yourself? You're not. Now, this is not to make it dark or gray or anything like that, but say these headaches, like they just persisted, but this guy gave you these pills and he's like, you'll be fine, da 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 da. And then 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is down the road, because you didn't look at the root cause, you have a brain aneurysm and you fall and die, right? Now, you didn't know, but you went, and what you dealt with was the symptom. Oh, I have this thing, so like let me fix the symptom. And this happens all the time, especially in the medical landscape, like all the time. You run a blood test and it's like you're iron deficient or B12 deficient. What does the doctor do? It's like, here, take an iron supplement. Here, take a B12 supplement. But here's the thing. Your body has a natural way to produce all of these things. Just like your body has a natural way to heal what is happening inside. Energetically, emotionally, mentally, like it has all of those tools and abilities inside. Okay? But if your body's not creating that mineral or that vitamin on its own through your diet or whatever it is, that means that a supplement is not going to fix that. This functional medicine doctor gave me a great analogy, which I love. He's like, say you have 5 fans in your body, okay? Like, and these fans are responsible to create B12, call it, okay? Now, one of these fans isn't working properly. Okay, it's like sputtering along, it's not working. And so your body's not able to create B12. It's not able to create it, not process it, etc. Well, now you throw more B12 at the body into a system that can already is telling you it's not operating well. And you're like, well, let's just throw a whole bunch more in there. Yeah, like, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. Like if an engine isn't working properly and you're like, you know what, we're just going to rev it up and just keep revving it till eventually it fixes itself. I don't know that that's a great solution. So what I notice is that people have just been looking, especially in the personal development space. There's a lot of stuff out there, right? Like a lot of noise and information and everyone, or the majority of people, keep pointing you to this mindset thing. It's like, oh, just figure out why your thoughts are this way or why your mind is operating this way, and you can reframe it and change it. Yes, you can. And ultimately, that's a Band-Aid. How many of you guys have done that work for a long time, only to realize that here you are 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, still dealing with the same things? Like the same things that were there before are there. Maybe the time between it activating is longer. Maybe even you were able to manage it in such a way where the effect of it is less than what it used to be. But my question is, are you still looking at and experiencing similar fears, similar doubts, similar confusion, similar procrastination, similar paralysis, And if the answer is yes, what I want to offer you is that I don't think that you're doing anything wrong. Like, I think all the things that you studied and the way that you've taught yourself and the practices have all been great, but they're great for what they are, a Band-Aid. And so you've created a really good Band-Aid. And some of you like exceptionally good Band-Aids. Band-Aid nonetheless. So now, to me, what's become very, very clear is that all of that stuff was just dealing with the symptoms. It wasn't ever dealing with the root cause. The root cause meaning like when something happens and a rupture happens in the body, it literally gets trapped and stuck in the body. So every memory, both elated ones and sad ones and angry ones and scared ones, whatever, every one of those things is trapped right now in your nervous system, in your body. And it's these ruptures and these traumas that the mind looks down at and doesn't like. Because originally when it happened, this energetic charge came through the system and your mind was like, this is too much. We're going to die if this keeps going. And it had to figure out how to undo this charge that was coming and pacify it. And so this wave came through. It got hit by the mind. The mind was like, no, we're going to die if we do this. And it literally figured out a way to cope with it and make it stop. Kind of like a Tylenol for your headache, right? Your mind just figured out how to make it stop. But this thing is stuck in there. And until the full impact and the full cycle of that emotion moves through your system, it will continuously loop and get stuck. Because what's happening now is the root cause gets triggered, the wave starts. And instinctively, the mind, which started this process when you were like 3-4 years old, is like, no, we can't have this experience. And so it pushes it back down. Where all you really need is the wave to build all the way through, like the full intensity of it, where you actually feel like you're going to die, or you're going to choke, or you're going to scream, or you're going to puke, or whatever the hell the intensity of it is. Like you fully go through that. And then as it builds up, it peaks, and then it starts to drop off, and then it leaves the body forever. That layer is gone forever. That emotional block, that rupture that has stuck in your nervous system is gone forever. And so the next time you're in this environment or circumstance and something happens, there isn't even that thing in there to trigger anymore. And now guess what? You don't need Band-Aids. You're not trying to manage shit. There's nothing to fix because the symptom disappears when the root cause is gone. And to me, NSRP is hands down the easiest, most effective way for actual sustained growth. Now, I'm not saying there aren't various layers of similar things, right? Like when we say fear, you know what? You have 97,000 layers of different kinds of fear. Fear that gets triggered here, fear that gets triggered there, anger, frustration, whatever. Like there's all these different layers. With each one that we shift out of, with each one that we release and remove, guess what? Something new. It's like this water bottle is full right now, okay? I cannot fill this with anything else. To my heart's desire, if I wanted something else in here, I cannot. There's no more water that can go in here. Now, if I empty this just a little, now there's space. Right now, something new can come in here. And to me, what I realize is like, if we want something new in our lives, we have to create space for something new, right? Two things can't occupy the same place at the same time. So as much as I wanted to fill that thing before, there was no room to fill it with anything. So first, we have to learn how to eject and how to allow these things to move through so that we can create that space. And once we create that space, this new information is going to come through. And this new information is benevolent. It wants more healing for you. It wants more growth. It wants more love, more peace, more joy, more fulfillment, more purpose. It's like your soul's desire. And so when we move that and something new comes in, that new thing is literally at a physiological level reinforming what is happening inside the body. And it will push up and arise these other layers that are now ready to be moved, now ready to be processed, so that you clear more information and so that more newness can come through. And the process just, it continues and continues and continues and continues. Are you feeling inspired by these podcasts? Is this approach striking a chord with you? Imagine taking this journey even further with personal coaching from Guy and I, right from your own home on Zoom. Join us at our next live event. They happen quarterly. It's an accessible, cost-effective way to dive deep into these transformative practices, not just theoretically, but experientially. Attendees often share that they've experienced unprecedented levels of peace, support, forgiveness, and awareness. Remember, healing isn't just a mental exercise. It must be felt and released through the body. So here's a special gift just for you, our valued listener. Visit intuitivemind.live and use the coupon code OLDSOUL to receive 25% off your ticket. The Intuitive Mind event is unlike any other. So impactful that many participants return multiple times, some as many as 10, 12, even 15 times. Plus, once you register, we'll immediately send you a recording of a previous event so that you can start practicing right away. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to intuitivemind.live, secure your spot for our next live event using the coupon code OLDSOUL, and start your transformative journey today. Now, back to the show. So there's two other things I want to say about that. One, the part where people get really stuck. How many of you guys, like when I mention this wave that comes through and, you know, it might make you really scared or sad or abandoned or whatever it is. How many of you like feel this innate resistance to that idea? You're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to face that stuff. That's kind of like what I buried for so many years. Like, I don't want to go and touch that thing. How many of you guys can relate to that level of fear or, you know, bracing that happens as soon as I bring that through? And I want you to know that if you feel that, it's normal. Like, it's perfectly normal. You're human. You're supposed to have that response. And there's a secret weapon to get out of that stuckness. And it's so simple. And it's been right in front of us all these years. But we have this mind that is convinced otherwise. And the reason that work has felt so difficult and you have been so resistant to it is twofold. One, the mind has no interest in you activating these things, okay? And the way that you can actually go through this is you're not supposed to go through this on your own. You're supposed to be and do this work with other or groups of others. Because our system, the things that scared you, as they say in Dr. Seuss, the things that scared you right out of your pants, right? Like, you're not equipped to go into, because the mind has created this like electrocuted fence around all of these aspects. And so what the mind likes to do is it likes to stay safe. So it picks programs and it picks books and it picks videos that it gets to say how close we're going to come, how far we're going to stay, who's going to be involved. It is the one creating all of it. But guess what? It's also the one that created the block in the first place. So at best, when you're doing all this stuff, it's like, yes, the mind will let you understand. It will always enjoy you playing in the world of understanding, because the world of understanding means that you're out here somewhere, not touching what's happening in here. And if you're okay with that, by all means, continue that work. If you want these things to be liberated, if you actually want to feel what it feels like, not to manage a symptom, but actually like fully release the root and feel what it feels like when this new energy begins to fall through, I'm telling you right now, you can try this work on your own till you are blue in the face, and you will not get the results. It just won't happen. When the rupture happened, your nervous system was needing a certain level of attunement, a certain energetic attunement, if you will. Okay. So you were dealing with sadness or anger or rage or frustration or abandonment, whatever it is. What your system was missing at that time was this other being or beings being there, being able to hold you as you move through that wave. And because you don't have the know-how ingrained inside, like the template, your template never received that information on how to actually be with this thing, then it doesn't matter how much you read. It doesn't know what to do. And so why I say it's impossible to do on your own is because you don't have the tools. Not from an understanding place, but from a felt sense place of how it feels to be held in that moment. Mom and dad did not know, so they couldn't give it to you. So Guy and I, over the last 22 years, and specifically over the last 8 years, have sought practitioners in our lives that have provided us with new templates that when we were highlighting in this space, right, these new templates basically gave us that medicine, that piece that was missing when we were young. And when that piece is met with that medicine, guess what happens? It moves through. It's not hard work. It's not things that you even need to like understand. It is just presence and awareness with a practiced practitioner who can move you through these things. And so if you're in this state of wanting to acquire more information and that works for you, I'm telling you, continue down that path. My invitation, though, is this. Before you go to bed or at some point during the day, go into the bathroom and take a cold, hard look at what you see. Take an honest look at what is staring back at you in that mirror. And if the traumas and the root causes that I'm pointing to have been active there for a long time, and you know how long that is. For me, it was decades. I'm sure for you it's similar. You got to get that you will never get out of your own way until it is dire and urgent. Tony Robbins talks about finding the lever. If you can't find the lever to pull that is going to create immediate urgency in your life, then you need to take a look at that mirror and admit to yourself that you are perfectly fine being stuck where you are. That you are too scared to take action. And you got to get good and honest that that's what you're offering to yourself. Because what I've noticed recently is there's a lot of people that talk a big game, but very few that take proper action. The same mind that has kept you in this struggle, that has kept you stuck, is the same mind that is making all the decisions on what you do in life. And when someone approaches you about doing real work, right? Guess what? Mind wants no fucking part of it. Doesn't want to be found out, doesn't want none of it, right? So what's it going to throw at you? All your excuses: time, money, logistics, fear, blah, 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 blah. And here you are, stuck, same place. Until you can look at yourself in the mirror and get really honest with where you're at and stop masking it or covering it or convincing yourself or listening to that bullshit that one day, someday, it'll somehow all work out and it'll all be okay. The world, the universe, God is waiting for you to draw the sand in the moment, the line in the sand. And until you do that, no one will draw it for you. And I know that I'm being like really, really straight with you. And I got to tell you, like, no one needed to push me. Like my lucky, unlucky, whatever it is, it's definitely gotten me into some pickles. But for the most part, I am incredibly self-driven. Like if I say like this way, we just go. I can be with the fear that comes up. I can be with the uncertainty. I can be all of it. But if I said like, this is where we're going, this is where we're going. And I realized that that's not most people. One of my mentors used to say, if you stand long enough in the sewer, it stops smelling like shit. And that's where most humanity has gone to. We have just been standing in our shit so long that it doesn't stink anymore. And if you want to make a change in your life, I'm telling you, you have to get reacquainted with that shit. You have to get reacquainted with that terrible smell. Because until you do, and you feel the pain of being there for the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years, you got no shot at moving off the mark. None. There's no fucking cavalry coming to save you. There's not a magic thing that you're going to stumble upon. Like, no one's created the perfect 6-minute YouTube video that's going to solve your fucking problems. It's not there. It's not out there. This stuff takes work. It takes commitment. It takes dedication. And I'm very clear with people that I talk to right now. And I tell them flat out, they'll be on the call, they'll give me this whole sob story and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, so we doing this thing? I don't know. I got to think about it. I'm not sure. I'm like, look, if you don't have it within you to figure out that you are in a place that if you had to be there for the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years, you don't actually like want to puke on yourself, then you're not ready. You can talk a blah, blah, blah game. I want this. I want that. I want this. You're just not ready. Come to me where you're at feels like fucking puking on yourself. That you need to, if you're like, if I have to be here for another 6 months, because that's the person that's going to take action. I cannot do this work for you. No one can. I can't do the pull-ups for you. I can't do the push-ups for you. I can't eat the way you need to eat. Like, you are an adult. You get to do all those things. I can show you, and Guy can show you, and our team and our coaches can show you all the right places to look, all the right things to do in a specific order so that you actually get the results that you want. But if you're under the delusion that someone's going to do it for you, or if you're under the delusion that it's like a snap your fingers and you're there, I don't know, most of you are probably in your 30s, 40s, 50s, let's say. So you're talking about 30 years, 40 years, 50 years of programming that you expect to just be handled. It's like a train that's been moving at God knows what speed for 40 years in a single direction. And you're like, yeah, I just want to go in the other direction. It doesn't go that, it doesn't turn that fast. But until you get to that place of being sick of what your future can look like if you don't take action, it doesn't matter what you do. It ain't going to work. Like, sometimes people get to a place in life where they go to a doctor and some crazy sickness happens and whatever it might be, right? And it wakes them up. And all of a sudden they have this epiphany of, oh yeah, I really have to take care of myself. And sometimes even that doesn't fucking work, which is crazy to me. People heart disease, lung cancer, this, that. Next thing you know, they're come out of the hospital fucking smoking cigarettes. I'm like, what? You really don't like yourself or your life. I don't know. One of the others. It really, really takes something. And the fact that this, it's so interesting to me that our liberation, our freedom from it all, it goes against every ounce of our beingness, right? Stopping to deal with thoughts in your mind goes against everything that we are. Asking for help from someone goes against every fiber of our being. We have programmed ourselves not to trust others, not to trust other support, that no one's there for us. We've programmed all of this in, so much so that is the reality, even though it's not, but that's the reality. And now your salvation is towards people, asking for help, getting support, getting out of the mind, getting into the body, all the things that we were programmed out of, the salvation is there. But we will dance around it. We will not go towards the salvation because the mind is I would rather just stay out here and do this weird little dance and hope that you don't notice that we haven't really moved an inch in the last decade. Because every once in a while, I'll send you a nice epiphany and you'll be like, oh my God, yay, I figured out life. We all have such big wants and dreams and desires and hopes. But so few of us are willing to take 100% responsibility, draw that line in the sand, and do whatever it takes. So few. I watch my son. He's 12 and he plays tennis. He really likes tennis. And then I watch 13-year-old kids, other 12-year-old kids, 14-year-old kids. Like, he'll go to these tournaments and I watch these other kids. And when I say they're better than him, they're like so much better than him. And then I end up talking to this one father. I'm like, wow, your kid is gifted, like incredible. You know, his kid was 12, like he would destroy me. And he says to me, yeah, you know, he loves this sport so much. Every night it's a fight to get him off the court. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. He's like, yeah, he comes home from school. He just goes out and plays 4 hours, 5 hours. Like, I literally have to like beg him to come off the court, to eat, to do other this. And I'm like, that's what it takes to become a master athlete, right? But like my son, he has a lesson once a week, right? And we have a tennis ball machine in my garage right there that I use at least once a week. Never used it. Won't go out, do drills. Like, everything is like, I'm like, do you want to go practice? Do you want to go this? No. Now, I have no delusion. Like, he doesn't need to be some super tennis player athlete. Like, I don't care. Like, he can do whatever he wants. I'm just pointing to the difference between people who get results and those that talk about getting results. And there's a huge gap. But because we live in a world where most people talk about getting results, that even if we do like a little bit more than just talk about getting results, we're like, oh my God, look at me. I'm working so hard. If you don't have the results that you want in your life, here's the straight talk. You're not doing the right things to get the results. Because if you were doing the right things to get the results, guess what? You will have already gotten those results. And so if you don't have the results that you want in your life, then what you really want to look at is there are levels in your life that you are just okay at being at. You're fine with it. And you will continue to be fine with it until you say no. Until you say, like, this is it. It stops right here. And I will do whatever it takes. And here's the thing. Whatever it takes is what you're not currently doing. You can't keep doing what you're doing if it's not producing the results that you want. If someone's like, hey, I want to go up to that mountaintop, okay? But right now, this is the slope that you're on. It's like this. You're like walking like this, okay? But you want to be up here. From here to here is a very drastic and different way. Like, there's a huge difference between walking on a treadmill, and then walking like this on a treadmill. Very different. Still walking, just a very different experience. So if this is where you want to get to, then guess what? The effort and the work ethic also has to go up. You don't keep walking like this and all of a sudden, like, you're here, right? There's a shift in beingness, a shift in energy, a shift in output that has to come with it. And this is what I'm telling you. I see time and time again, like, I don't think you're ready. I think you're lying to yourself. So I said, go look in the fucking mirror. I think you are lying to yourself. And so you really want to pause and get super honest. Am I okay with where I'm at? If the answer is yes, you got all the answers that you need. That's exactly why you are where you are. My shift 8 years ago happened when my coach at the time, something arose. She wanted to take me back into this like memory, and I had a literal like aversion. Like I wanted to puke on myself from the idea of having to go and revisit this fucking memory for the God knows thousandth time. And at the age of 35, after having done whatever it was, 14, 15 years of work, I'm like, how is it that I'm still looking at the stupid memory? This way, that way, this way, that way, created this and that. Who cares? Like, why am I still looking at that? You'd think 15 years later, I'd be like, moved on to something, but I wasn't. Still looking at the same thing. And I worked my ass off day in, day out. And it was in that moment of frustration and upset where I was like, God, I can't do this for the next 70 years. Like, you got to show me some other way. And new teachers showed up and new practices and this and that. And guess what? When it showed up, it was edgy. Because I'd mastered this other thing for 15 years. And now I'm sitting to these practitioners. They're saying words and asking me to do exercise, all of which I felt like an imbecile. I was like, I'm not doing it right. I'm doing it wrong. It's not working. This is stupid. Why am I doing this? Blah, blah, blah. I had to sit with all of that. And I trusted because I was like, I cannot keep doing what I'm doing. Just no go. Not happening. Right? Like there's so many people that will quit drinking alcohol, for example, right? And something happens. It's not like it usually takes some event where you're like, nope, I'm done. And it's that line in the sand moment that creates something new. Your job is go and find what that lever is. Because when you do, all the nonsense excuses that your mind has sold you about time, money, energy, your abilities, their abilities, blah, blah, all of it goes out the window. And you start walking up a hill. And it's hard. And your muscles are going to be sore and like all of it. And after 2 weeks, all of a sudden you're walking and you're like, you know what? This wasn't as bad as it was in the first 2 weeks because your body's now getting used to something new, new elevation, new requirements for output, right? It's learning to adapt. But that adaptation is being adapted for like a whole new world, a whole new you. You've adapted to who you are and what you are now. And if where you're at is truly not where you want to be, then you got to let all of that go. You can't hold on to that and have this thing. Two things can't occupy the same space at the same time. So it's like, I'm going to let go of all that stuff. And inside of that, I get there's like identity stuff and failure stuff and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, if what you're doing isn't giving you the life that you want, then what the fuck are you still doing it for? Someone asked me, they're like, you want to shift into this like new being, but you're still making choices from the mind of the old being. So the old being, the mind is dripped with fear and doubt and scarcity and all that kind of stuff. But you got to think, like, if you were in that future place and you were actually living the life that you want, right? What kind of choices would that version of you be making? Would they be making the same choices? And if what you're saying you want is this life up here, then maybe you get to choose from here to start that path. Because if you keep from here making the same choices, the same decisions, looking at life from that same lens that you've always looked, how are you possibly going to make that transition? Yeah. Find the lever, change the path, let go of the old way, be the version of you get to be. 100%. Well said. I can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself. I can't. And until you want it bad enough, you just got to be okay that you're going to be where you're at. And I know that's uncomfortable. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. It should be uncomfortable. It should make you sick. And when it makes you sick, you'll move. Until then, just enjoy where you're at, I guess. Nothing happens without your willing, desire, effort. It just doesn't. Never met a single person my entire life and all the coaching that I've done that went to bed and woke up and all of a sudden all their money concerns and time concerns and health concerns and all that stuff disappeared. And they were like, great, now I get to do all those things that I put on hold for the last God knows how many decades. I've never once in my life met that person. I've met a lot of people who, from the state that they were in, were like, fuck this, I'm done with this, and then took one action and didn't worry about the rest. They were like, this is it, this action. And then that action led them to see something new. And then they took a new action. And then that action led to something new, and they took another action. And slowly through these actions, as you look back over a span of 365 days or 3 years or 5 years or whatever it is, all of these actions that led to some other action, years down the road, they look back and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe my life. Yeah. And that's what I want for everyone. Like, you all deserve it. Really, really deserve it. You are the only thing standing in your way. The only. No one's out to get you. The world's not out to get you. People aren't out to get you. You weren't dealt like a broken body or mind or none of it. You got what you got. You don't got what you don't got. But that doesn't mean that you can't have whatever it is that you want. Are you willing to let go of possibly everything you know about self, about other, about the world, to find the life that your soul came here to have? And like I said, I cannot want that for you more than you want it for you. You have to find that place. You have to find that lever. And when you're ready, you come find me. Because I will show you exactly where to look. I will shortcut the crap out of this journey for you, and things that have taken Guy and I 8 years to get, people are doing in 2-3 months today. Because with the right teacher, they're never going to do it for you, but they will show you exactly where to look and exactly what to do in the exact right sequence. Guy and I spent 20 plus years and over $1 million figuring out everything not to do. So it's like, don't go and make the same fucking mistakes we did. You don't have to. Get to that place where you are 100%. I am in. Yes. Come find me. I will show you exactly where to go. So yeah, a little bit of straight talk today. And I don't know that I had an intention per se. I'm just feeling into it now. It's like, if I can be the fire starter for you to stare deeply and honestly at yourself and get off this rock that you've been on, and for you to draw that line in the sand, then that's really exciting. Because people that live their life like that on purpose, with fulfillment and drive and passion and love and wanting to make a difference, like all that, it's just so juicy. So juicy. And I want that for you more than anything else. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this amazing family and community. Yeah. Keep finding the truth within. It's a lifelong pursuit. And I honor you for your courage and vulnerability and willingness. And if you did find yourself kind of sitting on the sideline and on that, like, I don't know, find me on Facebook, email me. Like, I'll guide you to where it is that your best efforts and energy can be put right now, so you can start to move. Okay. All right, guys, have an amazing rest of your week. I will talk to you soon. Till next time, have an amazing day. Thank you, dear one, for choosing to share a bit of your day with us. We value you greatly. And as a way to give back and help you to deepen these practices, we want to invite you to join our incredible community on Facebook. You can do so easily by going to joinoldsouls.com and ask for an invite. This is our private community where old souls and seekers are able to grow and share their journey with others. We hold exclusive weekly live streams, we answer your personal questions, and offer valuable insights that we won't be able to share here on the podcast. So again, just head to joinoldsouls.com and grab your invite today. And as always, if you enjoy this podcast, please head to iTunes and leave us a review. It's the only way other people can find this show. So if it's making a difference in your life, please share the love. Until we meet again, have an amazing week, dear one.